Hello and good morning. It's Phil Thatch and I'm here today at Desoto Falls in Alabama. Not too far from Chattanooga where our home base is. And we're here at Desoto Falls. First time I've ever been here. Rained a whole bunch yesterday and we figured it'd be really flowing. And though I've never been here before, this is definitely not really flowing. Took a couple pictures though. It's hard to get really close to it. So I used the 70 to 200. I'm at about 120 millimeters. I used half a second f14, the circular polarizer, and ISO 100 for the shots from here. So there's the falls way over there, and it spills down to here, where there's a really high falls down into this quarry. But you just can't get down there to make a shot, and it's not flowing very good anyway. Okay, so there it is, the best photo I got of Desoto Falls, only because the flow was so horrible, but stay tuned because a lot of the pictures later on in this video are really good and I'm really pleased with, although this one I'll have to come back another time to try to improve it. There's a state park near here and we're going to go to it and see what photographic opportunities we can find there. Okay, so this is the body of water that's just above Desoto Falls, and we think it's the west fork of Little River, maybe. And I'm making some long exposure shots. The first one I did is of that lighter green than the rest of the trees over there, and then I did this little boathouse, this red one, and now I'm going to go work on this boathouse up here, which I think is going to be the best of the three shots. I've got the 7200 on still, and I've put on the circular polarizer and the 3-stop neutral density filter to get some longer exposures to slick that water. Okay, so I'm shooting this one vertical because I want to try to get some of the, I want to get the boathouse, I want to get the reflection of the boathouse on the water, and there's also some early fall color around it, and I want to try to get all of that in the shot. And I still have the polarizer on and the 3-stop neutral density filter, and I don't think I've dialed the polarizer in yet, so let me do that. I just turn this polarizer until the color in the leaves gets richer. And it doesn't affect, this polarizer is not affecting the reflection of the barn. So I look on the back of the camera, I look at the level and I look at the histogram to determine what exposure I'm going to use. Got a 5-second timer on. This land here is so marshy. When I step in it, I sink in a couple inches. My shoes are pretty wet. Let's see how that comes out. So I'm very happy with both of these tiny boathouse photos. You know, we drove all the way to this place in Alabama for the waterfall, and we ended up taking photographs of lots of other stuff. And I love these boathouse pictures with the fall color and the neutral density filter to make the water nice and smooth. It didn't have a lot of ripples anyway, but the 3-stop brought it to a really nice slick appearance. All right, well, that was fun. Let's see what else we can find up here in Alabama. Ooh, it's mushy. I guess sometimes the water gets high and comes all the way over here. There's Heather. Now we are at the actual DeSoto State Park, and we are checking out this North Alabama birding trail that is a boardwalk. How long did you say the boardwalk was, honey?
7 feet.
1,000-foot long boardwalk, so that's like a fifth of a mile. And it's called the Talmadge Butler Boardwalk Trail. So while we're on this boardwalk, I'm bringing the Z6 and the Holy Trinity, but I'm also bringing the D500 and the 200 to 500 just in case we see some interesting birds on this trail. Okay, I found this awesome looking tree here that's growing up out of a boulder. This is just off the boardwalk. The boardwalk's just, I don't know, 20 or 30 feet behind me. But there is this awesome tree, and the roots grow up and over this rock, and there's all sorts of fantastic moss. So I got the, I put the 14 to 24 on there, and I made a couple of shots. Let's see what my settings were. 1.3 seconds, f/16, ISO 100, looking right at this thing from really close. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself, but I feel like this is kind of a missed opportunity because this was so beautiful in person, and somehow I never can get moss to look as beautiful in my photos as it looks in person. I think if Adam Gibbs had been there with this same equipment, he would have killed it on that picture. That one was at 18 millimeters, and I took another one at 15. So definitely using the ultra wide portion of this lens. And now we're gonna hike some more and see what else we can find on this little trail. Okay, so while I was making the photograph with the ultra wide of this awesome rock and these mossy trees, Heather discovered these two trees that cross right over the boardwalk that kind of reminds me of the logo for Disney's Aulani Resort. And I didn't like the composition of it from the boardwalk, but I think from standing on top of this huge boulder, it might be pretty cool. Yeah, from right here I can look. There's a rhododendron or something in the foreground that I wish wasn't there. But otherwise, this is pretty awesome. I can look straight down the boardwalk, and the boardwalk is weaving, and I should be able to frame it with those trees. Okay, so I'm using every bit of this 70, but it should be okay. I might square crop this later. First thing I'm doing is getting the camera perfectly level and locking it down. And I think I'm going to use my polarizer, which I've got in this pouch that Percy gave me. First time I've used it on a belt clip. The reason I like shooting it from up here is shooting it at a downward angle. There's no bright sky messing everything up. Yeah, that polarizer's taking the glare right off the boardwalk. It makes it look better. This tree right there is in the foreground of my shot, and that's what makes me think I may square crop this to get rid of that. Otherwise, it's pretty cool. I can't really move somewhere to get rid of that. Okay, so as you can see, the tripod's in a pretty precarious spot, so I'm using a 5-second timer, so it'll definitely settle down, and I'm at f/16, 2 seconds, ISO 100. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this one. I was so thankful that Heather pointed out those trees because I did not notice them at all, and I was really happy that I was able to find a composition that worked with those trees. So stay tuned because there's another thing that Heather pointed out that made a great photo later in the video. We did not see any birds at all. Of course, look at all the cars parked at the trailhead. So the trail was full of people, so any birds that were nearby were definitely spooked. But I've got a couple of kind of cool landscape type shots, so I'm still glad we hiked that little trail. Okay, we're here at the Little River Falls overlook, and it's a long way from Little River Falls. This is 5 or 10 miles from Desoto State Park and Desoto Falls. So I'm going to try to get a shot of the falls, and I'm going to use the 200 to 500 on my Z6 that you can see in the background there. So let's see how this goes. Over there is the sign where I was a moment ago, and there's a little boardwalk. It comes out to this observation platform that is above this little creek or little river. And way down there is the waterfall. So I've brought the Z6 and the 200 to 500 to try to get a shot of that. Okay, so I'm using every bit of the 500 millimeters and it's just about perfect. I've got the waterfall kind of in the center of the frame. Camera is nice and level. I'm trying to get a little bit of a long shutter, a long exposure here, so I've turned my ISO. Usually I shoot at ISO 100, but this camera has extended lower ISO ranges. The next one down is L 0.3 and then L 0.7 and L 1.0. So I'm shooting all the way down at L 1.0. We'll see what that translates to. But I'm trying to, like I say, it's trying to get some slightly longer shutter speed. I actually kind of like this composition. It's probably going to have some haze in it because, let's see, how far are we away? Does it say how far we are away? It doesn't say, but we're a long way away. Sometimes with vibration reduction on, you move the camera and it'll drift back. And so I've turned it off to make sure I'm getting it just like I want it. One more time with the focusing. I find I can see to do this ultra tight zoomed in focus even better in the EVF, so there's another advantage of the mirrorless camera. Oh, I like it. I like it. I think that's going to be all right. That's going to be the best waterfall picture of the day from probably 150 or 200 yards. Still a smidge overexposed. I'm going to go up to, I'm at f18 now. I don't want to go any faster or any slower on the, or any faster on the shutter speed. Let's try an f22 version. Okay, that one's not showing any blinkies at all, or virtually no blinkies at all. I really like that shot. There it is, the crazy 500 millimeter waterfall photo. I absolutely love that 200 to 500 millimeter lens. I'm sure I've mentioned it several times on this channel, but you just can't beat that thing. It's the cheapest lens of all the lenses that I use today, and look at this photograph. Fantastic. Now this is the obvious composition, but while I was working on this, Heather made a discovery. Heather noticed these two beautiful trees in the foreground that are right on the stream or the little river that are starting to turn fall colors. The green of them is very bright, and there's also some yellow and orange to them. And she came up with the idea of doing a vertical shot with them in the foreground and the waterfall in the background. And they're probably 2/3 of the way to the waterfall, and I'm focusing right at there's a pool in front of the waterfall. I'm making my focus point the land at the edge of that pool that's halfway in between the trees and the waterfall, so hopefully everything will be in focus. And I'm still in the low, the sub 100 ISO thing. I've got the camera balanced 1/4 of a second, f20, 5-second timer. So Heather really pointed out a good composition, I think. Thanks, Heather. Okay, so here is the shot with the beautiful trees that Heather pointed out to me in the foreground. She didn't actually tell me to shoot it vertical, but that is what she was thinking. And as soon as she pointed out the trees, it was obvious that a vertical shot was the way to go. And here it is. I hope you like it as much as we do. All right, that's going to do it for us here at the Little River Canyon National Preserve. We went to Desoto Falls and the Desoto State Park, and then we came here, made a lot of photos for you. We hoped you like it. If you did, hit the old thumbs up button. And if you like the content of the channel, go ahead and subscribe. We appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.